Okay. The last sugya, it really started a few lines ago. We did it yesterday already. So the sugya has spoken about selling an eved to chutz la'aretz, even to a big tzaddik in chutz la'aretz, but he goes free. Very fascinating. That and just a little akdama to the sugya is a halacha that we have in Ksubis that an eved doesn't have to go to chutz la'aretz. If the master, even he was sold to someone, he doesn't have to go to chutz la'aretz. He can say, "I don't want to go," and he can't force him. Even if that's today's sugya. That's going to be a sugya over here. But the regular din of ever that there's a call malim and they call mutian. So this ever that belongs to a master in Eretz Yisrael, if the master wants to take him out, he doesn't have to go. And if the buyer wants to take him out, he doesn't have to go. So the question is why that place that's the kasha. Why do we make him go free? He doesn't say, "I don't want to go." The buyer is a chutznik, but the eved doesn't have to go. So what's the problem? Why does he go free? He should remain in eved, and he doesn't have to go. Stacy says because we're scared that the new master is going to convince him to come. Ben Eretz Yisrael sold the eved to a Baal Chutz Ben Chutz La'aretz. So we're scared that the Ben Chutz La'aretz is going to convince his new eved Kanani to come to him to tell him, "Oh, we have nice factories over there, good, all kinds of nice things," and he's going to want to go. So we intercept and we say that he goes free. That's fascinating. It's a big chiddush that we didn't understand it last time before until I saw the Tosfos, and I just was thinking that in order to stop him from going to chutz la'aretz, so we free him. But it's more than that because really he doesn't have to go to chutz la'aretz, but he might get persuaded. So we free him. That's fascinating.
And the new Baal, the potential new Baal comes as a slave.
He's not a slave at all. He couldn't take even without this class, he wouldn't be able to force him to go to chutz la'aretz. But we want to even stop him from trying to persuade. So we say, if you buy Eved from Eretz Yisrael, so he goes free. Because we're scared that Eved is going to be persuaded by this is Tosfos over here. This bottom Tosfos from time. What's the case that he goes? I think so. He's going to see how he sees how important it is. They got freed because of that. And Toma, what's the case? If he went on his own, if the Eved agrees to go to chutz la'aretz, he loses the right to go free. And the case is that and Bal Korcho Ein Yachol Lotzio, he can't force him to go out. And a Kol Motziim V'Shloma the Miyad Kishamocho Kansino Lei Pen Yishad Lenu Lokech V'Tvorm Lo Lechachrav. Make the knas that he should get free in order that the buyer should not persuade him to go to chutz la'aretz. Fascinating halacha. And this, by the way, this also applies nowadays. It happens to be technically we don't have avodim, but you're allowed to have avodim nowadays. And if someone wants to know about Kedusha Soros today, the Rambam people talk about that he didn't list it in the 613. The Rambam Paskins says halacha. It applies even nowadays. If somebody would have Eved Kanani, and he would sell him to somebody in chutz la'aretz, even a great tzaddik that Rosh Hashiva that lives in a great place in Lakewood or something like that, he goes free. He goes free. And even if he says that I'll stay in Eretz Yisrael, you could stay in Eretz Yisrael, also not. The halacha applies nowadays. Yeah, that's also in Ksubas over there. But here we're going into the sugya of the avodim because of this halacha. Okay, so that was yesterday's halacha. Yesterday we spoke about Stam, a person who Antuchi, we said American, who lives in America, who lives in Eretz Yisrael, who lives in has a guest house, he has a vacation house. That was yesterday's Gemara. That a Stam American, that he has a house in Eretz Yisrael, we could assume that he is going to stay in Eretz Yisrael. If he only has a vacation place, so then we have to assume that he's going to go to the chutz la'aretz. Here the Gemara starts. This is on Boyer B'Yomiyah. Ben Babel Shenasa Isha Beretz Yisrael. V'chnisa lo avadam u'shvachos. V'daito lachsa. Chosnik, all right, Ben Babel, that he married a woman in Eretz Yisrael, and she had avadim and shvachos, and she, by the way, applies to a shivcha also, avadim u'shvachos, and she brought them, and she brought that into the marriage. The dowry that she gave was avadim u'shvachos, and he intends to go back to chutz la'aretz. The last one on the line is Yemriya. So the question is, when she gets married, she has a avodim and she brings it into the marriage, and now the husband has rights to use the avodim, he gets peiros, and it's nechsetzon bazel, and that means that they evaluate, they assess how much it's worth, at the time of the marriage. And if he ever divorces her or he dies, so then she gets that amount of money. That's called that it belongs to her, but he has the right to use them, and he's obligated to give the amount of money. So the question is now that, yes,
Give her the initial.
if he divorces her or he dies, so then she gets that back the money that it was worth at the time of the marriage. So the question is, by bringing in these avadim, is it called that she sold it to him? Is it considered a sale? It's really her avadim. Now she gets married, it belongs to the husband, so to speak. We'll see. We'll talk about that. It now is in the authority of the husband. Maybe it's considered that she sold it. She's a Bas Eretz Yisrael, and she sold these avadim. She married to the husband, who now is a ben Chutz La'aretz, and maybe that's considered a sale. If that's so, he's going to Chutz La'aretz, so she sold it to a ben Chutz La'aretz. The same way, if she would have sold it to this man, it would go free. Maybe the fact that she married him and she brought in this as a dowry, so they should go free because she sold it to this man, and it's considered she sold it to a ben. If it's considered hers, even if she goes to Chutz La'aretz, that doesn't mean that the slaves go free. If someone owns slaves in Eretz Yisrael and he lives in Eretz Yisrael, and the master goes to Chutz La'aretz, that doesn't mean the slaves go free. He can't take them out, and they can stay. They stay, but they're his slaves working in Eretz, stay in Eretz Yisrael. But if you sold them to somebody who lives in Chutz La'aretz, even if he's masking to leave them in Eretz Yisrael, they go free. As we said, because we're scared that he's going to persuade them. So that's the question. By marriage, the woman brought in slaves to the marriage. Is it considered that she gave it to the husband in a way that it's a sale, and then they're going to go free? Is that good?
Free them before she's married.
There's a halacha that if somebody sells a slave to a ben Chutz La'aretz, the slaves go free. This woman, she didn't sell them, she married a man, and she brought it in as a dowry. Is the dowry that she brought in, is it considered a sale to the husband? If it's considered a sale, so the slaves are going to go free because she sold her slaves to a ben Chutz La'aretz. If she didn't, it's not considered a sale, so then they don't go free. They don't have to go to Chutz La'aretz.
Why it's a sale? Why to the new Baal?
She brought in the nechasim as nichseitz on Barzel, and that means that he has the right to use it, and he assesses, he obligates himself, he's responsible to pay back the value if he divorces her or dies. So that's going to be the question now. Is that considered that she sold it to him or not? Well, two more lines, maybe it'll come clear. This is going to be a question according to both Mandarim of who's right. What does it? That means that in a case where he divorces her or that she dies and she wants the thing back. She brought in something. She brought in a certain whatever you'd say, certain object. She brought in a fancy chair into the marriage, and they assessed it for $1,000. And then when he dies, she wants back the chair. She wants back the chair itself, not just the value. And he said, and he or the Joshim, they want to give the value. So who's right? Who wins? Who wins the case? That she brought in something as nichseitz on Barzel, and which means that the nichseitz on Barzel is a kind of a nichseitz look, but it doesn't. It says a set price or whatever they assessed at the time of their marriage. So if after the marriage is terminated, either because he died or because he divorced her, and she wants back the object itself, and he wants to give her money. He or the Yoshim want to give her money and keep the object. So it's machlokes who wins. Some say Adini Mo, some say she wins. She gets back the object. Some say Adini Mo, he's right, and he could keep the object and pay the money. And the Gemara says that our sugya talking about is this marriage that brought in the slaves as a dowry. Is it considered a sale to the husband? It's going to be on both Mandiyamrim. It's going to question point to everybody. Even if you say that she has the right to get back the avadim, if either the divorce or the death, she would say, I want back the avadim, she would get it back. So you might think that's the way that shows that it's not a sale. It still belongs to her. He just has to pay the value of it if she wants it, but she gets to keep the avadim. So that means since she's right, that she wins the case and she's allowed to get the avadim back, that means that it's considered hers. She never sold it to the Baal. He has the right to use them, but she owns it, so she never sold it. So therefore they should not go free. It's considered hers. The da is her, the day is his. So maybe since they're obligated to him for the work, means that they have to work for the husband. He's the one who's the owner of the work. So maybe that's considered his. The Gemara could have asked the same question in a simpler case. If someone sold the Eved for Maisi Yadayim, that the Eved still belongs to me, but work that it's going to produce, his produce, his Maisi Yadayim is going to be Ben Chutz La'aretz. You're selling that to someone. That could be also part of the Gemara's question. Is that considered enough that you sold it? You sold the payros of the Eved that's enough reason why it should be considered you sold him and it goes free. Or you look according to the guf still belongs to the Ben Eretz Yisrael, so he doesn't go free. That's how the Gemara sees the two studim. If the wife brings in the avodim and it still belongs to her, the avodim still belong to her, but he has the right to use the Paris, is that considered enough of a sale that the other should go free or not? And that's all on the side that they really belong to her. The also the man the Amar that dinimo, even if you hold that at the time of when the marriage is terminated, that the avodim stay by the husband, and he just has to pay back the value. So there's also you could ask two sides of the question. Since you see that he wins and he's allowed to keep the avodim, so it's considered his. That means it's considered a sale. When the woman marries the man and he gets that, she brings in avodim and he's allowed to keep them permanently. He just has to pay the value. That means that it's considered a sale, and therefore she sold him to a ben chosloretz. Maybe the fact that he still doesn't own it yet. He doesn't own the guf yet. He's going to own the guf if he buys it, but right now he doesn't own the guf yet. So maybe that's considered hers, that she didn't yet sell it to him, and therefore it's not, they don't go free. And all this the Gemara says teku. Just to sum it up, the Gemara is talking about a woman who brings in avodim shvachos into the marriage, as Nifseit on Razel, that the husband obligates himself to pay their value at the time that their marriage is over. And the question is, whose is it? Yes. So is it considered hers or is it considered his? If it's considered hers, so then they don't go free because it's still hers. And even if she goes to Chosloris together with the husband, but that there's no such din that if the owner of slaves goes to Chosloris that he loses all of his slaves. No such din. It's only if you sell it to a Ben Chosloris. So she didn't sell it, she still belongs to her. And she went to Chosloris together with her husband, but they're not going to go free. Or is it considered a sale? Is it considered that she sold it to the husband, and he's a ben chosloret, so that it's considered, then they would go free because she sold it. I think Gemara says this question is independent of the question of if he has a right to keep the avodim at the end, just pay the value, or she could demand that she wants the avodim themselves. That's not dependent, independent of that question. I think Gemara leaves it as a takeaway. We don't know if the marriage is considered a sale, and really we could talk about Paris, the one. She brought in slaves, right? Why is she going? Because her husband lives in Chosloris. Her husband is a ben Chosloris. Her husband is from Chosloris. He came, right? He came to Israel to get married, and now he's going back to Chosloris with his wife. And the Avadim are gonna stay here. Let's say the Avadim have the right to stay here; they don't have to leave. But if you sell an eved to a ben chosloris, even if they stay here, that they go free, because we're scared that the new owner is going to persuade them to follow. Let's say it's on Braz like that. The price of when they were of the marriage, the price that they were worth at the time of the marriage. Right. That's it. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't depend on them. It's a question that since he has the payros to work, maybe that's considered that he bought them, or maybe even since he doesn't own the goods. If he bought them, then they're free. If it's considered that they're his, so then they go free. Then they don't go free. Yes, if someone owns slaves and the owner moves to Chosloris, the slaves don't go free. They have the right to remain in there as Israel. If they choose to go to Chosloris, then they forfeited their right to stay in Chosloris. I'm not sure what you're referring to. The Gemara doesn't know if they go free. The Gemara has a suffix if they go free. The Gemara says take it. That's the end of the Gemara. Take it. We don't know if they go free. If they go free, so then they're free. Then they become Jews, and they don't even have to write any check because they made a knas that they lose the money. If you make a sale on an eved to sell him from a ben Eretz Yisrael to a ben Chostar, so say goes free. Everything's good. It's a fascinating Gemara. And it came. But even if he made it in the finale, he also he's going to say. No. So it's fascinating halacha that And some are going to say even that as the rice. We're going to come up soon. It might even be the rice. That is halacha that fascinating. And that's halacha l'maisa. So there's no real issue about the Rambam. The Rambam passes like this. Okay, next Gemara. Amar Rabba Bo. Shalom Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan taught me. Evet Shatsa Achar Rabba L'Surya. And now the question is, if the Evet goes to Chos Laretz, the master says, "I'm going to Chos Laretz. You want to come?" And he says he wants to come. Then he gets to Chos Laretz. He says, then he wants to sell him to somebody else in Eretz Yisrael, not to a guy. He wants to sell him to somebody, another Jew in the Chos Laretz. Then the Evet can't say, "Oh, you sold me to Chos Laretz. You came to Chos Laretz. You could have stayed in Eretz Yisrael. You came to Chos Laretz." So here, that's the case over here. The Evet followed his master to Chos Laretz, and then the master wants to sell him to somebody else in Chos Laretz. Surya is considered Chos Laretz as far as this halacha. We had this in the beginning of the Masechta that a mocha out of the Surya can mocha to Chos Laretz. So the master was going to Surya, he was going to Chos Laretz, and the Evet followed him. Yeah, right. And it's considered a kibbutz shachar. It's a private conquest. They conquered it, but it's considered Chos Laretz as far as this halacha. So Evet shall say Achar Rabba l'Surya. U'machor sham Rabba. Evet followed his master to Surya, and then the master sold him. He goes free because it's not. That's the question. Why he willingly went to Chutz Laretz, so you forfeited your right. That's the most kasha. But tell you even the Priya says that he forfeited his right because he went to Chutz Laretz. So why does he go free? Lo kasha. Just to get this down over here. Lo kasha. A little bit more. First white line. Kan shedas Rabbalasa, kan shedas Rabbalasa. If when the master took him out to Chutz Laretz, he said, "Let's go on for a business trip." Okay, then he didn't mean to leave Eretz Yisrael. He just went for a business trip or vacation, whatever. If his mother was there, but it wasn't that he permanently left. So then the master is not allowed to sell him to somebody permanently in Eretz Yisrael, and then the slave goes free. The case where it said that he doesn't go free is because he went permanently. The master is going for a permanent move to Chutz Laretz, and he asked David, "Do you want to come?" And he said yes. Then he forfeited his right. Then even if the master sells him to somebody else, he's selling it from Chutz Laretz to Chutz Laretz because he's already a ben Chutz Laretz. So that's good with us. Batanya is not a kasha. First white line, Batanya. If the Evet willingly goes, he doesn't. The Evet can say, "I don't want to go." The master says, "I'm moving to Chutz Laretz." He says, "I don't want to go." He doesn't have to go. You can't force him. He could remain an Evet. He remains an Evet. He works in the factory, but in the Eretz Yisrael, and the master went to Chutz Laretz. He doesn't go free. But so for every reason he went to Chutz Laretz. If he went to Chutz Laretz, so then he forfeited his right, and if he could sell to somebody else in the Chutz Laretz. But if he only went for a business trip or it's a temporary trip, so then they ever went along, but he didn't mean to leave, and therefore he still has his right that if the master is going to sell him to Chutz Laretz, to a ben Chutz Laretz, he goes free. But doesn't say you're not allowed to sell. You're not. You're allowed to sell this stuff. Well, Tanya is not a kasha, but Tanya is benichusa. This is going to be a proof of right from a brisa that says what we just said. It depends if the Evet went out just for a temporary business trip or he went permanently. You would say first the brisa is going to need a little bit editing. The way the brisa says it doesn't make sense, and the Gemara is going to interject right away as soon as it starts talking and say that you can't take it literally. First line, you would say the first line, the way it says it, it sounds like the Evet is supposed to follow his master to Surya. And that the Gemara right away jumps up. What do you say? Yotzei. That means he has to go out. He can't object from going out. But that nobody could force somebody to leave Eretz Yisrael. So the master cannot force his Evet to go to Chutz Laretz. So he is considered Chutz Laretz, and the master cannot force his Evet to go to Chutz Laretz. So the words don't make sense. The Brisa says that the Evet is supposed to go. Yotzei is supposed to leave. Why is he supposed to leave? So you have to edit the Brisa. That doesn't mean that. It's a mistake. Yatsa, take out not Yotze, but Yatsa. The vav is a mistake. If he did leave, he went together with his master to Surya. That means he went to Chutz Laretz willingly. This is a continuation of the brisa. And the master sold him to somebody else. So does he go free? So if when the master left, he had intention to go back to Eretz Yisrael, and the Evet only followed his master as a temporary trip. So then you force the master to free him because now you sold him to Chutz Laretz. But if the master went permanently and the Evet followed willingly, so then you can't force the master to free him because the Evet willingly forfeited his right to be in Eretz Yisrael because he went as a permanent move to Chutz Laretz. Open the master to free him. Yes, because when David went, he went willingly for the business trip, for a temporary trip, but he wanted to go back to Eretz Yisrael. And then the master now sells him. And then he sold him over there. And sorry, he sold him to somebody else in Choslovitz. And sorry. Okay, so that's good. It makes a lot of sense. Again, the Eved didn't forfeit his right because only went for a temporary trip. So if the master sells him,
then we come back. That's what the evidence informed that they're going to come back.
right, and then he sells him. So he says, I never had intention to, I never forfeited my right. I just went for a temporary trip. So therefore, when he sold him to Choslovitz, he's now selling it from a Ben Eretz Yisrael to a Ben Choslovitz. So he has to go free. But if when the master left, he told them that he's going permanently, and the Eved came along. So he forfeited his right to be Ben Eretz Yisrael, and the master is a Ben Choslovitz, and he sold another Ben Choslovitz. It doesn't go free. What is this fourth one? You don't force he doesn't go free. Ain't kofano, so you don't force the master to free him. Fourth one, yeah, okay. Fourth white line. I'm Ravanan. The next question is going to be who he goes free. Reuven in Eretz Yisrael sold his Eved to Shimon and Choslovitz. And the law is that the Eved goes free. But there was a transaction over here. Reuven sold him to Shimon. Shimon paid money to Reuven. And now he's going to go free. So who loses the money? How do you know? Okay, so the Gemara doesn't know yet. Oh, you're right. You're right. I mean, they said it yesterday, and the Gemara is going to be a right from yesterday. So we didn't know who loses the money. That's going to be a sugya now. Either the seller or the buyer. Reuven in Eretz Yisrael sold the slave to Shimon and Choslovitz, and the Eved goes free. Who loses the money? Who loses the money? The seller or the buyer? Because it's not a sale. But we said, well, that's what you're saying. But we tell him, you shouldn't have bought him. You shouldn't have bought him. You're an accomplice. Why did you buy him for? So it could be both of them should lose. The Gemara is going to talk about who loses the money. Yesterday, the Gemara is mashma, but like Yaakov said, he remembers from yesterday that the buyer is going to lose his money. Amar Rabbanan. Rabbanan said, Shmuel, this is following what Rabbanan said. I heard from Shmuel two things. Shmuel was the Rebbe. Mar Shmuel is Shmuel. Shmuel was the Rebbe of Rabbanan, and the Talmud said, I heard from Shmuel two things. One about concerning our halacha about selling an Eved to Choslovitz. And I heard nothing from Shmuel. The Itmar, somebody sells this field during Yovel. Means whatever you buy during the year, 50 years, so you buy until Yovel, the field goes back to the original owner. And you only sell it for the amount of money that you're going to be using it. 30 years, 40 years, 20 years, whatever it is, that's how much you make the cheshbon. You make the price according to how many years you have till Yovel. He said it during Yovel. He sold it on Yovel, during the Yovel year. So it seems that no, so that's what it's not going to happen. Right. So the question is, what happens? So it goes back. Nothing happens. Right. So it doesn't go for another 50 years. They might have thought that's going to be a 50-year, 49-year sale, but the halach is not. During the whole year of Yovel is mafkia. There's no selling during Yovel. But the question is, Rav Omar mechura b'yotza, u'shmuel Omar ena mechura kolika. Rav says that it's as if it's a sale and it goes back immediately. So he sold it, and right away it comes back. So the whole sale, it was a sale, but Yovel makes that it should go back to the original owner. The Shmuel says it's not a sale at all. It's as if nothing happened. So the nafkamina, the simple nafkamina is going to be, now I don't get the Gemara here because it sounds like there's a sale price. How much does it cost? How much is the sale price? Even if you say that it's a sale and it goes back, so it's not worth anything. How much is it worth to own a field for 5 seconds? So I don't know. But there's a same the produce that's on the field but he's not going to get anything. So there's nothing. So I don't get it. You're saying that so I don't get it. The Gemara sounds as if there's money over here. I don't know what, I didn't look into it more. I just don't know how much money is here. It sounds like there was a sale, there was a price, there was a amount of money that was given over for the deal. I don't know the answer. I don't know what the word's talking about, but there seems to be a money issue over here. And the question is, if you say that it's a sale and it goes back, so then the buyer, the seller gets the money. If you say it's not a sale, so then there's no money. Then we tell the seller that you have to give back the money to the buyer. He gave you money. The buyer gave you money. The buyer gave money to the seller. So I have to give it back. That's what it seems to be. That yes, a field. No, if it's a sale, it's a sale. If it's a sale, it's a sale. There's a field, and there's a field. Goes back, like every Yovel, everything goes back. You bought something 30 years ago. When it comes Yovel, it goes back to its original master. No, you don't wait. It goes Yotze right away. He sold it during Yovel. During Yovel, it goes back. Yes, because it was a sale. The same. So how much money is that? And he gives, and the field goes back. He gets the money. The seller gets the money and the field back. And the buyer is looking open mouthed. I don't know how much money there is. That's what I'm stuck. How much money did he pay? It's Yovel. It's Yovel. It's Yovel. It is Yovel. The middle of the year. Yovel. So they what? He thought that's if he gave him money for 49 years. How much money are they talking about? How much money? How much money were you talking about? $1,000 for 5 seconds. He's going to own the field for 5 seconds. You're going fancy cheshbonos, giving you presents. We're not talking about giving presents. We're talking about a sale price. How much is the sale price? So I don't get it. Why is the sale price? I don't know. I don't know. Forest no word. I don't know what it is. So here, that's machlokes. If it's a sale and right away Yovel takes effect, or there's no sale at all. So I heard Shmuel talk about these two halachas. One halacha was about selling the eved to chosloretz, and one about selling a field during Yovel. And Shmuel says that it's not considered a sale. And what does Shmuel say about these two things? And one of these halachas he paskin that the money goes back to the buyer. The money goes back. And the one he says the money does not go back. So we're really interested in the case of the Eved. Does the money go back? Does the buyer get back his money or not? That's what we want to know. But Ravanan said, I heard the halacha. I'm not sure if he said the money goes back or not, because he said two halachas, and one of them the money goes back, and one of them the money doesn't go back. And I'm not sure. So the pashas we would learn that, of course, the case that he said by the Yovel, that it's not a sale. That's what sounds like the money goes back. That's what he said. The Rav said that the sale is a sale, and Shmuel says sale is not a sale. That's the horror. The pashas will be a sale, not a sale means that the money goes back. But the Gemara is not to say now. And we'll see the Gemara is going to explain itself. How can it mean that it's not a sale and the money does go, and if you say in a mechura, it's not a sale, and the money does not go back. What does that mean? So we'll see some. I don't know which one he said to which. And our real interest is to know the case of the Eved, does the money go back to the buyer or not? I'm Rav Yosef next Yanam. So Rav Yosef said, let's figure it out. And Rav Yosef is going to figure it out the same way like Yaakov figured it out from yesterday's brisa. Miratani b'brisa. We learned in the brisa which we learned yesterday. It says that say when you sell the Eved to Chutz, the new master has to give the get shechur. That means that the new master is considered a new master. He's considered that he bought it. So the one in Chutz, he's the one he bought it, and he's the one who has to give the get shechur, and that means that he loses the money. Because he's the one that was saying you're the master. If you say it's not a sale, that means that he's not the master. He should say that the original master in Eretz Yisrael should give the get shechur. So this brisa says Shmamina that Kanye Rabu Sheni V'lo Hadrizvini. So you see from this brisa, Shmuel's not going to argue in the brisa. We didn't bring it right from Shmuel. Go to right from a brisa. Shmuel's going to hold like the brisa. You see here that the second master is the one who really acquired him, and that means he doesn't get his money back because he bought him, and the knas is going to be on him. That means he's a somebody. He's the owner. We're forcing the owner to write the get shekel. Who's the owner? He says the Rabbi Sheni is the owner. If the sale's not a sale, then we tell the Rabbi Rishon, you're the owner, and write a get shekel. So you see from the brisa that the sale is a sale, and one of the chutz la'aretz is going to lose the money. If someone from chutz la'aretz bought a slave from Eretz Yisrael, he's going to lose the money. He has to be shachrei, doesn't get his money back. So when Shmuel said, when it's not a sale, when did he say it's not a sale? Shmuel's not going to argue the brisa. So this is the case where it is a sale. So where's not a sale? If I'm a Shmuel Hassam and a Mechura, that's the case. Moas Chosrin. The case of the Shemitah, of Yovel, that he sold the field in Yovel, there Shmuel said it's not a sale at all, and the money does go back. Again, I don't know how much money it is. Whatever money it is, we say it's not a sale, and the money goes back to the buyer. And that's the maskana. That's what Shmuel said. And now we know, as far as what we wanted to know, is that the one who sells the Eved, the chutz la'aretz, the buyer in chutz la'aretz, he's the one who loses the money. The Gemara on top of the page wants to know how is it possible not to have known this. It's a brisa. Rabbanan didn't know the brisa. The Gemara says, yeah, Rabbanan didn't know the brisa. Just to do this, how does this go over here? Yeah, so we know when Shmuel said "Ein mechur," but in the case of Yovel, he meant to say that the money goes back to the buyer. Top line. You can put this in parentheses if you want. The next couple of lines. Rabbanan, brisa or Shmuel. Rabbanan didn't know the brisa. He didn't know this brisa, but that we knew from yesterday. He didn't say it's not a mission. It's a brisa. The brisa says that the Rabbi Sheni, he didn't know the brisa. If he would have known the brisa, he wouldn't have had a problem. That's what the brisa said. But the question is Shmuel alone. This was we were grappling with this. That Shmuel says "Ein mechura." Doesn't that mean if it's not sold, that means that the buyer gets his money back? No, it's possible he doesn't get his money back. Even though Shmuel said "Ein mechura," remind "Ein mechura" mos chosrin. That's because it says not a sale. Doesn't necessarily mean that the money goes back. Maybe. Who says that? Why? How do you know that "Ein mechura" means mos chosrin? I mean, Shmuel said the word "Ein mechura." Those words he said. He said, by the case of the Yovel, Rav said that it's not sold, but he not necessarily doesn't mean mos chosrin. Who says that "Ein mechura" means that the money goes back to the buyer? Maybe it's not a sale, but the money that he gave to the seller was for a present. It's true that it's not a sale, but so why did he give him money? Because he knows that it's not a sale, and he decided to give a present, and some reason he clothed it in a sale of Yovel, but really it's nothing. The Yovel is nothing. It's not a sale. Not a funny case. It's not a funny case. It's a strange interpretation of what happened over here. Right. Okay. Some of you feel against Yovel, and he knows that it's not a sale, and they meant to give it from money. That might have been what Shmuel meant. That's why Rabbanan was Mesupach. Rabbanan didn't know what Shmuel. Maybe Shmuel meant that. Thus, we found other cases where something is not a sale, whatever, it's not a transaction, and the money is meant as a gift. Itma. He had a similar case. Someone married his sister, and surely it doesn't take effect. He can't marry his sister. He gave her a ring and said, so it's surely not a marriage. The question is, who gets the money? Does she have to get the ring back or not? They come back and they find out that the marriage is not a marriage. So does he get the ring back? Does she keep the ring? Rav says it's not a marriage, and the money goes back to the brother. Shmuel says that he knows that it's not a marriage. He had to give her a present. So you might have thought that over here also, and that's why everyone didn't know. But this was in parentheses because the maskana is that when did Shmuel say that the money goes back? The money is, he meant the money goes back in this case. When he said "Ein mechura," it's not a sale. That's the case that he meant to say that the money goes back to the buyer. Not a fancy case, no present over here, nothing fancy. That it's not a sale and the money goes back to the buyer. And the case where he loses the money is the case of the selling it. Our case, if you sell it to Eretz Yisrael, from Eretz Yisrael to chutz la'aretz, the money does not go back, and the buyer lost his money. Yeah. No, he gave her, he doesn't have relations. He gave her a ring, cautiously, and then they call up the Rav, is it anything that take effect? He says, no, it's nothing. And the brother knew that, and he just had a cautiously to give her a ring, and he meant to give her a ring. He clothed it in a marriage ceremony, but he knows it's not a marriage ceremony, and he just meant to give it as a present. If he did something that doesn't make any sense, and he knows it doesn't make sense, he meant to give her a present. Why didn't he just give her a present? If it's a marriage, but it's not a marriage. The marriage doesn't take effect. You can't marry your sister, it doesn't take effect. Now, of course, there has to have relations, but the marriage also is not a marriage. There's no bond at all. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. They gave her a ring, and it's nothing. Nothing happened. Nothing happened over here. Nothing happened. He didn't do anything. It could be. He didn't do anything. You want to know? He didn't do anything. He gave a ring to his sister and said, "I'm marrying you, so you are hereby." It's not nothing. So the question is only, did he mean to give the money as a present or not? But the marriage is not a marriage at all. Of course, they're not going to have relations. It's not a marriage at all. He gave her a present in a fancy way. Why? That's where we have to go to learn. Okay, that's okay. We could. That's just to figure out the psychology and this. So that's okay. But as far as the halacha goes, machlokes, if you meant to give her a present or not. Machlokes. No, we were talking about a case about when a person bought a field during Yovel, if he knew that it's nothing and he just meant to give a present or not, the maskana, he could have put all that in parentheses, and the maskana is that it's not a sale and he gets his money back. And when someone left to do a knas over there, he gets his money back. And by the eved, if someone sells the eved to chutz la'aretz, the buyer does not get his money back. There's a knas and someone's going to lose. Who's going to lose? The seller or the buyer? The buyer loses. And the man in chutz la'aretz, he loses the money. But at the end, we figured it out. How do we figure it out? Because we know the brisa. The brisa says that, and Shmuel's not going to argue the brisa. So that half we know, and then we could use the process of elimination that the other case is the case.
What's the brisa say?
No, the money goes back. In the case of yoga, that's what you might have thought. All this was what you might have thought. That's why Rabbanan wasn't sure, because he could have understood Shmuel that maybe, even though he says that it's not a sale, maybe the money is a present. That's why he wasn't sure what Shmuel meant to say. But at the end, we figured out. Shmuel just said, "Ein machira." Over there he says Mos Matan, but over here he doesn't. By the case of marrying a sister, over there he says that he meant to give a present. But that's not what happened when he is buying a field during Yovel. He didn't mean to give a present. And therefore the money goes back to the right. Right. It was just right. It was just brought as a possibility. That's why Rabbanan didn't know what Shmuel meant. But after we know the facts, I really would have liked to make this as a parenthesis. Let's see if I could try it now. It's going to let me do that. I still didn't learn how to use it, so I don't know. Yes. And now we're one line before it spreads. Amalei Bala of Yosef. My chaz is the kansina the lokeach. Make the seller mocha. How come we made the knas on the buyer in chuslos? Why not make the knas on the seller? The one who sold it in Eretz Yisrael, he sold the slave. He did bad. Both of them did bad. They're both accomplices. You need a buyer and a seller. So how come we made the knas on the buyer and not on the seller? Amalei. So Rabbi Yosef told the buyer, the mouse is not this. I didn't know that's right here. That the mouse is not the ganav. The mouse hole is the ganav. Because if it wouldn't be for the mouse hole, the mouse wouldn't steal. So. Yes, if it wouldn't be any escape, he wouldn't take the cheese. The cheese would stay. How come he lost the cheese? Because the mouse knows that it has a place to stash it away. So the seller only was able to sell because he knew there's a buyer. It means the buyer is the problem. There wouldn't be any buyers in the chutzlaris, and there would not be selling the ever. Go ahead, ask the question. Where? If nobody? A mouse or what do people have to do with anything? Okay. No, we're talking about a big piece of cheese that he can't eat. Not a little thing for now. He puts it away, the mice think They store it away, right? So he only would take it if he has place to store it. If he can't store it.
But it's some people have to hear. But now, see how current, now I buy.
Don't buy stolen goods because don't buy stolen goods. Right. But here the Gemara says that you can't blame everything on the hole. You need a mouse also. If not for the mouse, where's the hole going to get any cheese if you don't have the mouse? You need both. It means that both of them. So why one more than the other? So the Gemara doesn't. That explanation is the not enough. The Gemara says, where we find the goods, the hot goods, that's where we make the knas. So it could be that can be confiscated wherever it is. We don't have make bonus that how it came here. We did Avera. We look wherever it is. Wherever it is, we take it away. So we found it. It means you don't send the FBI in the middle of the to find when that Avera is happening. Wherever you find the stolen goods, you take it away. So here, that's a much of the stolen goods. Here you find the Eved by the second master. It means not that he find them over there. He's in the rishus of the second master, so we take it away. And we tell the second master you have to give a get shekel, even though it's also the fault of the seller. That's true. But the way they made the knas is on the second one. A story. Third wide line. Now, who avda the arik b'chutz la'aretz la'aretz? A new halacha. We didn't have this yet. Yes. That we can make the knas where it is found. There's a seller and a buyer. When the police come, they find in the hole, so they take it away. They take it away. So here they come and they find that the Eved was sold to the buyer. We take it away. Even though there's no svar, why it should be one way more. As far as the guilt, both of them are guilty. Who avda the arak b'chutz la'aretz la'aretz? It was a slave, every Canaan, that ran away from his master in chutz la'aretz to Eretz Yisrael. Arak is to escape. It's Aramaic, and nowadays they made it also in Hebrew. That how do you call the ones who? Arak. What do you call it in English? AWOL. What's that stand for? What does AWOL stand for? Without leave. Without leave. So that means he left. That's called in Hebrew. They call it Arik, and it's really an Aramaic word. They made it Hebrew. So he ran for Eretz Yisrael. Now we didn't have that. We only had a case so far that the master sold him from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz. Here, the master didn't do anything wrong. The master doesn't. If I'm Chutz La'aretz Yisrael, the master's wrong. The master's in the Chutz La'aretz. That's. But he didn't do anything about it. He didn't take David out. But David escaped to Eretz Yisrael, and he wanted to stay. Ozal. Every Kanani, and he ran to Eretz Yisrael. He got the next boat to Eretz Yisrael, and he stowed away, and he came to Eretz Yisrael. So the master from Chutz La'aretz came to get him back. Like, what is this running away from me? They came to Rabbi Ami. He was in Eretz Yisrael. Amalei, Rabbi Ami told the master, we'll give you an IOU note for his value. It means the Eved owes you his value, but write him a get shekel. It means you have to free him. You do have to free him, but you're going to get your money back. It's not like make a knas. You didn't do anything wrong, but you get your money back, but you have to free him. That's the new halacha. We didn't have that yet. If an Eved runs from Eretz Yisrael to Eretz Yisrael, he has a right to stay, and he goes free. And he has to write that he owns a check that I owe you money for my value. My value. Yes. If you're not going to agree to this, I'm going to take him away from you. Means if you ever watch, if you come along peacefully, if you agree to let him go, and you'll get the check, you'll get the IOU note. If you don't agree to that, I'm going to force him to go. I'll take him out from you without all this business. I could force him anyway. That I could force you to free him without getting paid. You want to get paid, get paid. If you don't want to get paid, you're not going to get paid. But you have to let him free. Why? Because of the following Brisa, which is going to have a Bachi Rabbi Yoshia, Achi Echi Rabbi Yoshia, and I'm going to prove from him that the Eved, you have no right to take the Eved back to Choslar. It's the master wanted to take the Eved to Choslar. We're going to prove now that he has no right to do that. The master has no right to take his Eved back to Choslar, even though he ran away. This is a big encouragement to all the Vadim and Choslar to run to Eretz Yisrael. And once they cross the border, they can't take back. They do owe money for their value. They have to pay back eventually for their value, but they're free. I would think so, but I don't know. And now we're going to go into the pasuk that says in Parshas Ki Seitzei. I can't highlight it, but if you look, here's the pasuk. Oh, wait, let's find it. Losansky, where do we have these pasukim on the side? Here it is. Up, Losansky. Let me make this bigger over here. Losansky ever allowed the no, Vashay no sell rechem him allowed the no. Second pasuk, this is in Deuteronomy 23, pasuk 16 and 17. That's the whole parsha. So it's very mysterious pasuk, very ambiguous. We're not sure what it means. Do not deliver an eved to his master that will be saved to you from his master. He should stay with you amongst you in the place that he chooses in one of your cities, and what's good for him. Do not pain him. Do not pain him. Like, oh no. The Moshe says, no, it's Dvorim. Do not pain him. What? What's the first person? Yeah, the Gemara is going to be there. This is in Shmos Chav Gimel. This the pasuk we want to talk about is going to be. I went out of order. You're right. That the Gemara is going to talk about the first pasuk in order to get to the second pasuk. Our real interest in our sugya is going to be this pasuk, and there are going to be 4 pshatim in this pasuk. What's pshat in the pasuk? Anybody have a pshat? What does it mean? Don't deliver an eved to his master that saved himself by coming to you from his master. Let him stay by you in the place that he chooses, and don't bother him. Any pshat? Anybody have a pshat in this pasuk? 23, 16, and 17. Okay, so the Gemara is going to have a couple of pshatim. It's not such an easy pasuk to figure out. We're going to have 5 pshatim, but one shot is the pshat of the kusim. One of them is going to be the wrong shot. But we're going to have four legal pshatim. So to shrink it again. So here we're going to start. We're going to eventually get to Avrohom Rabbi Yoshia. That's what we're talking about. That the Avrohom Rabbi Yoshia says this case about an Eved Kanani running away from Eretz Yisrael. Don't send him back. That's what he told him, that if you're not going to agree with what I'm saying, I'm going to take him away because Avrohom Rabbi Yoshia says that you don't take him out. Here it goes. Here's the Brisa. The Tanya. Here goes the Brisa. It's a Brisa that's pretty long. It says in the pasuk, do not allow the goyim to remain in your land because they might make you sin. The goyim, you come to Eretz Yisrael, the goyim might make you sin, so don't let them stay there. You might think it's even a goy who doesn't do avodah zarah. You have to drive out the goyim who don't do avodah zarah. In your land, and you come to Eretz Yisrael, no of the avodah zarah. That's what the Gemara says. You might think no non-Jews. It says no. Yachal b'goy. Yachal, but you have to change a lot of these things. Yachal b'goy shekivu lolav shalom avodah. The words just don't make sense. Yachal b'goy kacham shekivu lolav shalom avodah. Yachal b'goy shekivu lolav shalom avodah zarah. Avodah kacham. You might think even by a guy who obsesses upon himself not to do avodah zarah, also you can't leave him in Eretz Yisrael. Talmud Lomar no. And the Gemara brings the pasuk of Losaskir. And the Gemara is Nadash. The Bryce is Nadash, and Losaskir means. In this case, you're allowed to leave a guy who doesn't do avodah zarah. You're allowed to leave him in Eretz Yisrael. And these Maitakante means what do you do with him? Let him stay amongst you. Don't bother him. So this is the Tanna Kamma's pshat. A fascinating pshat that I never would have dreamed of. You know what it means? If there's a guy that doesn't do avodah zarah, that he stays, don't send him out of the land. A guy that doesn't do avodah zarah, you're allowed to leave him in the land. How does it fit into the words? I don't know if it's going to mean his avodah zarah, his master is avodah zarah. Don't deliver him back to his avodah zarah. If you're going to send him to Chutz La'aretz, he's going to go back to avodah zarah. In Eretz Yisrael, he doesn't do avodah zarah. You can send him to Chutz La'aretz, he's going to do avodah zarah. So don't deliver him back to his avodah zarah that he got saved from you, from his avodah zarah. Right. If he accepted not to do avodah zarah, so keep him there, and he's not going to do it. He's telling to chutz la'aretz, he's going to do avodah zarah. Not every guy is going to accept, but if the guy, yeah, right. Yeah. So therefore, the Tanna Kama says that's trying the pasuk that don't send out a guy who doesn't do avodah zarah. Rabbi Yoshia didn't like this shot of the Tanna Kama. Kash later Rabbi Yoshia. This, I guess, is not the brisa, but these words are not brisa words. But that's what going to say. That he argues. Rabbi Yoshia doesn't agree to the Tanna Kama. Hi, me'im adonov, me'im. They change aviv should be Elohov. Me'im Elohovi boyle. If it means if you learn the pasuk, it means to say that don't give him back to his avodah zarah. He shouldn't use the word adonov, his masters. He should have said the word which is usually used for avodah zarah, Elohov, his God. Don't deliver him back to his avodah zarah gods, because he came out of that. So it shouldn't have said me'im adonov. It should have said me'im Elohov. So that's not the pshat. So he's Rabbi Yoshia is going to argue on the Tanna Kama. El Amr Rabbi Yoshia nu pshat. What's the pshat in the pasuk? The Vasaski Eved al Adonov, don't deliver an eved to his master. What does he say? B'mocher avdo l'chos la'aretz hakasim adam. El Amr Rabbi Yoshia. B'mocher avdo l'chos la'aretz hakasim adam. It's talking about the halacha we had today that you're not allowed to sell your slave to chos la'aretz. So we didn't know that it's the Raisa. Here it says this is the Raisa. And how do you read the pasuk over here? Don't. What are we going to say? Don't deliver a slave to his master that saved himself to you from his master. Let him stay by you. What's going to be the case? That someone who was in Eretz Yisrael that sold his slave to chos la'aretz, you don't deliver him to his master in chos la'aretz. And let him. He should rather stay by you. So this we didn't know that it comes out that it's Issa Deraisa. To sell to a goy, we came out that it's Issa Rabbanan, but to sell to a Jew in the chutz la'aretz, even a good big tzaddik Jew, it's Issa Deraisa. So he knows it. Pshat the pasuk. Don't deliver the eved to his master in chutz la'aretz who was saved by you from his master, and let him stay by you. That was Rabbi Yoshia's pshat. That's also not what we're looking for. We're looking for Rabbi Yoshia, the son of Rabbi Yoshia. And that's what the Gemara says now, the third pshat. Rabbi Yoshia had a kasha on his father, Rabbi Yoshia. It also doesn't fit into the pasuk. The case is not that he is saved by coming to you. He's saved by being by you. It means, what's the case? That Jew in Eretz Yisrael is selling his slave to chutz la'aretz. So don't give him over to his master in chutz la'aretz because he's saved by you. Not that he's saved by coming to you. The word Eilecha sounds like he came to you. And you're talking about that he should remain with you, not that he should come to you. He should remain by you. So it doesn't fit into the pasuk either. But this is what we're looking for the whole time. That the pasuk is talking about the Nebuch Kanani that ran away from Eretz chutz la'aretz, escaped from chutz la'aretz to Eretz Yisrael, and that it says, don't deliver him back to chutz la'aretz. So the Rabbami told the master of the Eved of chutz la'aretz that the pasuk says, according to Rabbi Yoshia, the pasuk says, unless it's halacha that you don't go, you can't take him out of Eretz Yisrael. Now it doesn't say here that he goes free. It doesn't say he goes free. It doesn't say he goes free. It here says you can't deliver him back to chutz la'aretz. The Chorah, the master would be able to sell him. The master from chutz la'aretz is going back to chutz la'aretz. He came to get a slave. Rabbi says nothing doing. Rabbi Yoshia says that's the Raisa. That the pasuk says you don't get taken back to chutz la'aretz. But I think that before we said about writing a check for his value, the Eved himself, also the master have a right to sell him. He could sell him to somebody in Eretz Yisrael. But if you're going to make problems, I'm going to sell, and you're not going to agree to give a get shechur, so I'm going to trigger this halacha of Rabbi Yoshia. You have no right to take him out, and I don't know what we're going to do. But you can get your money if you want. But if you don't want, so you're going to leave without the money. You're not taking the Eved back, like nothing doing. You're not taking the Eved back. That's what Rabbami told the master from chutz la'aretz, that Rabbi Yoshia says it's the Raisa that you're not allowed to take him out of Eretz Yisrael. So I think he's telling you you could sell it. So he says you should give a get shechur. It says that no, right. So you have a choice of giving a get shechur and getting an IOU note from him, or selling it to someone. That I'm adding on myself. I think that maybe Rav Toshis Smith says so, but I'm asking. And the person doesn't say that you have to free him. It just says that you can't take him out. Don't take him out. So like I said, I don't know what he meant to say. That seems to be a deraisa according to Rabbi Yoshia. After Rabbi Yoshia, it's a deraisa not to take the slave, even though you escaped. Since he escaped to Eretz Yisrael, you don't send him back. Rashi and Chumash brings down this Gemara. The Targum says it's even talking about the Eved of a Goy, not the Eved of a Jew. An Eved of a Goy that comes to you, to Eretz Yisrael, don't give him back to the Goy. A different shot in the pasuk. And the other Rishonim say it's talking about the enemy camp. That pasuk before is talking about a war. If somebody of the enemy camp comes to you, don't give him back. So everyone is talking about. So far, we have 3 pshatim on the pasuk here alone. The Gemara continues. One more pshat, a 4th pshat. Tani Ida, Chanal Brisa, about this pshat lo yaskir. Vasas kever aladona, but Rebbe Yom, this is Rebbe. But lokech kever almanas shach ravazim ledaber. It's talking about, when does it say don't give him back? It's talking about if Eved was bought with the intention of freeing him. I don't know the case in the fancy case. Someone bought the Eved with the intention of freeing him, and then he wants to back out and not free him. We say no. Since you bought it with the intention of freeing him, he's free, and you can't back out on it. Like Hechi Dami, what's the case that he bought him with the intention of freeing him? Just because he had a mind to do that doesn't obligate him. Rav Nachman Yitzchak, the Kasav Leach, he wrote the following contract: when I buy you, so you are already freed from now. He freed him before he bought him. He said, I'm buying you, that when I buy you, you should be freed from now. And Rashi brings down that it goes according to Rav Meir that says, it's double shalom, he didn't buy him yet. But according to Rav Meir, you can do such a thing, you could free him already before. When I'm going to buy you, you're free. So we have 4 pshatim in Osaski Avrohom. And the one that more really one is the 3rd one, that if somebody runs away from Eretz Yisrael, you can't send him out again. He bought him from another Jew. And the Jew is buying him with the intention of freeing him. And not only intention, but even wrote him a contract. He gave him a get shikra before. I don't know the answer. I allowed it previously. Maybe since he already, when he bought him right away, he said, I'm freeing you before I buy you. Maybe there's no issue of freeing him. So it's a kind of a redemption. He bought him, but I don't know how you do it. Maybe there's a way to do it. I don't know. So you're freeing. So the one who sold him, he's doing it to free him. It's like redeeming him from the Avdus. And here he's allowed to do it. I don't know. That was a nice question. I don't know. And even if he's doing it, that is going to take before he buys him, but he's getting him freed. That seller, if he bought him from a Jew, so then it's freeing him from the Jew. I don't know. I really don't know. There was a couple of stories. Rav Chisda had an Eved, and he ran away. But he didn't go to Eretz Yisrael, he went to the Kusim. And Rashi says everything's Choslar over here. Nothing was a Choslar. He went, it was a Shamroni, Kutim, right. Kutim, it was a Kuti neighborhood over there, and he ran away to the Kutim. Shalach Lahu, Hajuan Eli, so Rav Chisda said to the Kutim, said, give him back, my Eved. So they sent back. It says in the Torah, I'm not allowed to. The Torah says that if Eved runs away to you, don't give him back. They read the pasuk the way it says so. It doesn't say fancy pshatim like we're saying everything of the drushes. They said it says in the pasuk, don't give back an Eved to his master. So I can't give him back to you. Skip the parentheses. Shalach lehu, two lines. Shalach lehu, who Eved shabrach from Chutz La'aretz la'aretz Rabbi Yoshia. That's pasuk I'm talking about. Only one case. That from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael over there. And one of your cities, so your cities means Eretz Yisrael. Here we're all Chutz La'aretz. So he ran away from me to you, but you're also in Chutz La'aretz. If he would be in Eretz Yisrael, he doesn't get it back. I don't get him back. But you're also in Chutz La'aretz. And they agreed. They agreed to the drash. They probably said Bachat Sharecha means one of your cities. Your cities means in Eretz Yisrael. So they agreed to the pshat. They send them back. How come you sent this one? We have 4 pshatim already. How come you only sent this one pshat? Because if it's the easiest one into the pasuk, they go with the psukim. They don't want things that are small nuances. They want the one that goes simply. They pass like the pshat, not like the drash. So he told them the one that's closest to the pshat, and they agreed and they sent him back. New Gemara. This is really on the side only because of similarity of the similar previous story. Abaye lost the donkey. Nothing to do with Avodim. This is a side story. Parentheses. He lost the donkey by the neighborhood of the Kusim, and they found it. Shalach Irchas is to lose. Shalach lehu shadruoli. I guess that it wandered off. He got lost and it went to the Kusi neighborhood. So he sent to them, send it back to me. Shalchulei, shlach simana. So they said, give us a simon, that's yours. Shalachulu, the chivra, trese. It has a white stomach. The donkey has a white stomach. Shalchulei, ilav de nachmeni, lo have meshadar olein elach. If it wouldn't be that your Abaye, his name is Nachmeni, Abaye's name is Nachmeni. If you wouldn't be Nachmeni, we know you're a big tzaddik and you're not going to lie, we wouldn't return it. Aren't all donkeys white stomachs? That's like so. That's not like a simon. It's not enough of a simon. Most donkeys are like that. So therefore, we're only giving it back to you because we trust you. Yeah. We'll trust you. We'll trust you because you recognize it. If it's okay to go a little bit further to the bottom of the page, it's also we're losing every day. But he said, I recognize. I know that was my donkey. New Mishnah. So we're in Tikkun Olam, all kinds of things that we did for Tikkun Olam. That's the whole, everything's coming in on the side. It's all, we're on a big cruise over here. You're not allowed to ransom captives for more than their real value. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to redeem captives for more than their real value. If they take an olam, because the benefit that people are going to take more, that's the question. The Gemara is going to talk about the possibility. There's not a possibility because it costs too much for the tzibur. The whole deal with Gilad Shalat was surely a big avera, terrible avera. And over there, it's even a question about giving back even one for one. If he's a terrorist, so then that's you're killing somebody else. You're killing somebody else. If they gave 1,000, it's mamish. It's ridiculous, and that's not the subject. That's not the subject. It's thinking a million, all the money in the world is not worth one Jew. And here it says you're not allowed to do more than the average price. So in all the world, there's one captive for one captive. They make a switch, prisoners of war. They do one for one. So that's it. So even if it would not be a terrorist, there would be us to do two or whatever. And they terrorists, and everything shows it was the worst thing that Am Yisrael did, and they, as if they're the good people, they're the just, and that's all nonsense. So it's also to redeem, but it's not our subject because over there was terrorists. But even without that, you're not allowed to redeem for more than the value. My Chavusha sent me, I probably said in the email, that this is a famous story about the Maram of Wittenberg. The Maram of Wittenberg, he was, don't redeem it, even though, and just maybe I'll get the story, I'll take it out of the email, but he said that he was on the way from Germany to Eretz Yisrael with 1,000 people. He got together 1,000 people to come to Eretz Yisrael. He says it was not such a big aliyah. Comparatively, there was an aliyah of 1,000 people coming to Eretz Yisrael. And the Ramban came by himself and he started everything. And there was an aliyah of 1,000 people and they were almost by Eretz Yisrael. And then a Shumid, a Jew who recognized the Maram Wittenberg, he slandered to the German authorities and they put him in jail, and they made a ransom, and he didn't allow that the Jews should ransom him. And he stayed in jail till he died for 14 years. 14 years in jail. And a Jew Meshumad, a heretic, how do you say it? I'll take out, right after we finish, I'll take out, that's one halacha. New Mishnah. You're not allowed to help them to escape. You can't help the captives to escape. Because Tikkun Olam also, the Gemara will talk about what Tikkun Olam is, that the captors should not make it too difficult for the captives. So Tikkun Olam. Don't help them escape, because if the captors are going to see that the captives escape, they're going to make it more difficult for whenever they capture somebody, they're going to make life more difficult for them. Don't help to escape. They could on their own they're allowed to escape. That one. And Tebi. Yeah. And Tebi.
Wax?
Not some waxman. I didn't look into it. But the Gemara has one more thing. To the Sefer. I don't know. I didn't think about it. Rav Shimon Gamliel Omer b'nei tekanas hashvuin. He argues on Tanakama not because taken over, but because of tekanas hashvuin. The Gemara is going to say it means the ones who are captured right there, not in the world. The next time they can be for the ones that are remain. You have five. There are 5 captives, and you get 1 to escape. Then the other ones that are left are going to get worse treatment. Right. That's what I was talking about. It doesn't say it's for him to escape. It says, it doesn't say it's also for the captives to escape. Back with the first Mishnah about not ransoming for more than their value. Is it because we don't want to put too much of a burden on the tzibur? Not the reason that they might be encouraged to do more, but maybe we don't want to make a burden on the tzibur. Or maybe the reason is that they shouldn't get excited. They shouldn't become more enthusiastic and bring more captives. If they see they get yes. The word I don't know how to translate. One side, let's see the Nachmina right away. A certain person, his daughter, his name was Levi Bar Darga, his daughter was captured, and he, rich man, he ransomed her for 13,000 golden coins. So how is it? If it will be for the Dukkha the Tzibur, he's allowed to do it because it's not the Tzibur. He's not asking the Tzibur to pay out. He has his own money. So he'd be allowed to do it. According to the second reason that they shouldn't capture more people because they get such a good price, then you wouldn't be allowed to do it even if you have the money. Which word? Pressing the tzibur for they got too much money. So that's only if they ask the tzibur. But if someone's rich and he has his own money, there wouldn't be an issue. But if the reason is because we don't want them to be encouraged to capture more, then we don't want people to do it even if they have the money. So you say no, the tzibur is a reason not to. That's what they're saying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even understand that.
Yeah, what could they do? They had no choice over them. Here they have. Here the question is: should they redeem or should they ransom or not? So here it says that you're not allowed to ransom them for more than the value, whatever the going rate is. Whatever the rate is, of course, there's no rate, there's no value for people, but there's a going rate in the market of captives, ransom. There's a market value, and here it says you're not allowed to do more than that, either because dochah b'tzibur or because they shouldn't be encouraged to do it more. The more he's right from the fact that Lady Bar Darga did it, it means that he's allowed to do it. The more thought is a right that it's only because of dochah b'tzibur. Who says that the Chachamim agreed? Lady Bar Darga did it. He wanted his daughter, but maybe the Chachamim told him not to do it. He can't be Uriah. Maybe it's because of and it'll be Yasser, even if someone has their own money. It says a story that somebody did it, and the Gemara told us to prove that you're allowed to do it. But Abai says it's not a right that the Chachamim agreed to him. Maybe the Chachamim didn't agree to him. He did it on his own without any consent of the Chachamim. Maybe you're not allowed to. Even one doesn't do it with the Zibura, but it's making incentive that the Goyim should capture more. So maybe you're not allowed to. Right. So the Gemara doesn't answer the question. The Gemara seems that maybe we're going to be machmir, that it's also even if someone has the money. The next halacha, that was the Mishnah. If there's only one captive in the place where you're captive that you're escaping, if he's the only one, there's no chashash anybody else is going to suffer. Only in the future. Tanakama says you're choshesh for the future also. And Rav Shimon Gamliel said the only choshesh for the immediate case in front of you. If there's nobody else, then you'd be allowed to help him to escape. The Gemara here to the page has a story, not such a happy story. The daughters of Rav Nachman, they used to stir a pot with their hands, with their bare hands, a boiling pot. They would put their hands in, and they weren't burned. Nothing happened. They were okay. Nothing. We started a story. The daughters of Rav Nachman seemed to be great, righteous women, and they would stir the pot with their bare hands. and nothing didn't hurt them. So they seem to be big tzidkanios. Kashler Avilish, he didn't understand. Such righteous women. Kashler Avilish. The pasuk says that you find a big tzaddik once in a while, but such a big tzaddikus. I found one man in 1,000. That's a great man. But even in 1,000, I didn't find one woman. So he could be to Rav Nachman. He's such great people. So you see, women also great tzidkanios. The pasuk over there is not talking about. I forgot. I'll leave it alone. That's what he said. They don't find such tzidkanios. So he was wondering. So the thing that this caused that they should be captured. The Gemara seemed Hashem wanted to reveal the truth. It seemed since that's what are you saying? Ein hora. The truth is going to be that they're not going to be such tzidkanios. So I don't know if it's ein hora. And because something to do with captivities, captives, and running away. So it comes in over here, related topic. So this caused that it should be orchestrated that they got captured. So the daughters of Rav Nachman were captured by Goyim. And Rav Elish also was captured together with them. The daughters of Rav Nachman and Rav Elish. One day, next to Rav Elish was sitting a person who knew the language of the birds. He was able to understand the language of the birds. Also, and a raven came and was calling out to Rav Nachman something, but Rav Elish didn't know what he's saying. So he asked the man, you know what they're saying? Amalei, my kama, what is the bird saying? Amalei, Ilish brach. It's saying, Ilish, run away. Ilish, run away. But Rav Elish didn't trust the raven. Omar, Orba Shikrahu. He might be lying. I'm not going to trust the raven. So then a dove came, Adachi Asayona, and he also was calling out to Rav Elish, the Kakaria, and he was also calling out. Amalei, so he asked the man who knows the language as my kama, what is she saying? Amalei, the same thing. Ilish brach, run away. So he said, I could trust the Yonah. Amar Knesset Israel Kyonim Sila, that Am Yisrael is in the Psukim is compared to a Yonah, so I could trust. Minim Shal, Mashal, Sila. So this is a proof that I'm going to have a nace. I can run away and I'll be safe. But before he escaped, he wanted to find, maybe I should take along also the daughters of Rav Nachman. Let me go see the daughters of Rav Nachman if they're still in their steadfastness. I'll also take them back. Means if I see that they're still Adrinu, I'll bring them back. I'll also escape. I'll escape them also. If they're still holding in their, upholding their steadfastness, their loyalty. Omar, so he wanted to know how can he find out? How could he investigate what's happening with them? Now she the women, whatever their issues they have to talk about, they talk about the Besakise, they're private over there, and he's going to go outside the Besakise of the women, and he's going to hear what they're talking about. Over there, they feel that they're in privacy. Shaminu the Cameron, they hear them talking to each other. Are they Gubrin? When are they Gubrin? These are our husbands, and the Nardoi people are our husbands. Means they lived in Arda, they had Jewish husbands in Arda, and now they got these new husbands. And they said, these husbands, those husbands, they're also good. These Goyish husbands are also good. Let us tell our captors that they should move away from here, that the people from our people shouldn't come and hear about us and redeem us. They don't want to get redeemed. They'd rather stay with the captors. So he said, okay, that's it. So he left them. He just went away and ran by himself. Come, Arak, he got up and he ran away. Here's the Arak again. He ran away. And he and the man who knew the language of the birds, both of them escaped. But he was saved, and the man otherwise was not saved. He happened a miracle, and he was able to get a ferry to cross. But the other man, he missed it, and he wasn't able to. They found him and they killed him. But then the Lamaisa, they were eventually redeemed. The daughters of Rav Nachman, they were redeemed. When they came back, when they came back, Amar, he said that they were stirring the pot with kishuf. It was sorcery. They was not because of the tzidkani. They weren't big tzidkaniyos. They were kashpaniyot. They were kishuf. They were kishuf before they went. The whole story was before they went. That they were doing the pot. The boiling pot that they were stirring was with kishuf, not with Jew, not because of tzidkaniyos. Because you see that they were not tzidkaniyos. Go ahead.
could be.